Deshaun Watson. This one came out of nowhere today. I remember 2 weeks ago after the grand jury took up the 9 criminal complaints, at some point I either read or heard or saw that there were 10 at one point, but one just kind of went away. I think that's what somebody told me. Like, yeah, just one didn't show up or something like that. Nobody said, oh, one of them was deemed to be not within the jurisdiction of Harris County, and it needed to be handled by a prosecutor in another county. This thing was just, boom, dropped out of the sky today, and it stunned me. I'm told that the Browns were aware of it when they traded for Deshaun Watson. It obviously worked out. They heard the complaint today. They decided not to indict on that one additional criminal complaint that was carved out of the Harris County grand jury process 13 days ago. It's just strange that if somebody knew that this was happening, if somebody knew that this was percolating, why didn't we hear about it before today? So there's the statement from the Brazoria County DA after a careful and thorough review of the facts and evidence documented in the reports, yada, 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 as well as hearing testimony from witnesses. The grand jury has declined to charge Deshaun Watson with any crimes. That is what Tom Selleck, the Brazoria County District Attorney, moonlighting Tom Selleck, is in a statement. He's got 3 jobs now. He acts, he sells reverse mortgages, and he is the District Attorney for Brazoria County, Texas. Very impressive. Renaissance man is Tom Selleck. So the matter is closed. Now, look, Charean, let me say this again. A prosecutor can indict a ham sandwich if he wants to, and a prosecutor also cannot indict a ham sandwich if he wants to. There's a lot of leeway. There's a lot of leverage. And if somebody really wanted to indict Deshaun Watson, they could have done it. And you know what it comes down to? Do you think you can win the case at trial? Do you think you can prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt? And I think that's been the problem with all of these cases. Number one, is it even a crime? Number two, if it is a crime, can I prove beyond a reasonable doubt that a crime occurred?
Well, Rusty Hardin, the attorney for Deshaun Watson, said on March 11th, after Harris County grand jury decided not to indict him, that the criminal investigations have been completed. They obviously weren't, because then we had this one happen. And Mike, I know they can refile, but do you see this now as, unless something else comes up, that the criminal investigations have been completed, barring further evidence, barring a new additional case?
Well, it would require a new prosecutor in either county, and the new prosecutor would have to want to take up the fight, and the statute of limitations would have to have not run. So I think at the state level, it's unlikely. The feds, one thing to remember there, and Tony Busby, who represents the 22 women who are suing Deshaun Watson, a year or so ago when this all got started, he tried to instigate talk of federal charges for bringing people across state lines for illicit sexual purposes. And there was talk at one point about the FBI investigating and looking into it, and it was downplayed. It never went anywhere. But the feds don't tell you. They don't telegraph their moves. They just do it. So that's still possibly out there. But it looks like the Browns did what they think is enough to come to a confident conclusion that nothing further is going to happen. And if they're wrong, somebody's getting fired. If they're wrong, somebody should not have a job, because somebody gave Jimmy Haslam a pretty positive report about Deshaun Watson's legal fortunes. Otherwise, he wouldn't have gotten a gigantic fortune, a literal fortune, $230 million fully guaranteed. So that agreement in and of itself to pay Deshaun Watson tells me that the Browns are comfortable with where this is going to go. And that if they're wrong, there's somebody who has a job in security with the Browns who shouldn't have that job, Charean.
Well, and Mike, they are bracing, I'm sure, for a suspension. And for all those Browns fans I've seen on Twitter who say, no, he served a suspension last year. That wasn't a suspension. He was on the active roster. Now, they made him inactive for every game, but that's not a suspension. He was paid his $10 million. I believe he will be suspended. Ben Roethlisberger and Ezekiel Elliott, similar situations. They both got originally 6 games each. I think he will be suspended, Mike, and I think they are probably bracing for that. How quickly do you think the NFL will decide on what his suspension will be?
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.